That's not why you were here!
Let's be real, Fan Nation. On Monday, many of y'all were stressing. The day one FOMO was in full swing as we watched the league throw around record-breaking bags while Washington seemingly stayed quiet. But then Adam Peters woke up. He chose violence, y'all. While everyone was overpaying for headlines, Peters was executing a GM Masterclass. He didn't just spend money. He built an identity. He turned a quiet Monday into a Tuesday takeover. From there, bringing home local stars, adding championship DNA in the middle of the field, and giving Jayden Daniels a vertical weapon. Today, we're recapping every move of the week and breaking down the blueprint. This isn't just a reload, y'all. It's a lesson in discipline. Let's grade this masterclass. But first, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the OTF podcast for more fun, informative videos just like this one. Let's go.
Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the commanders will prevail. Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the commanders never fail.
All right, y'all, let's dive right on in. Let's start first with what we did on defense. Peters completely reconstructed this defense that we knew was aging and a little bit slower than we would like to see. They said it in the offseason. They said that they wanted to get younger and faster, and that's exactly what they did with these moves. Let's start off with the closer, Odafe Oweh. Signed him to a 4-year, $100 million deal. This is arguably one of the biggest splashes that they made. Now, I see the logic in this. You don't just pay for what they did, you pay for what they will do. Odafe Oweh is a ascending player. He has 17 and a half sacks in the last 2 years. His relative athletic score is through the roof, y'all. Like, ridiculous, like green and everything. We're starting to see that Adam Peters definitely has a type, right? Because a lot of the guys we'll talk about definitely had similar traits as far as their RAS, relative athletic score, spoke. He's an alpha, man. The guy's like 6'5", he has a 4.36. Granted, that was a pro day 40, but 4.36. I give it that he could probably run at least a 4.4 minimum on his bad day. That's crazy, man. Like, former Raven, Penn State guy. He said he loves being on the East Coast. That's why Washington was one of his top choices. So I'm interested to see how Oweh is going to really overhaul our pass rush, man. Long, rangy guy. And he's not just one of those guys that has long arms and can't use it. He has a range of moves that he's been developing. Keep in mind that last year, he got traded from the Ravens to the Chargers in week 6. And from that moment on, he went on to have 7.5 sacks in the regular season. And I believe he gathered 3 more in the postseason. So this guy is a baller, man. This was one of the best moves that I think we made as far as defensively goes. But it didn't stop there, man. Adam Peters straight up pulled a heist from the Kansas City Chiefs by going out and signing Leo Chenal to a 3-year, $24.75 million deal. Let's just call it $25 million. And I see this, man. He's a high impact championship DNA guy, 2-time Super Bowl winner, mind you, because he was with the Chiefs when they won those Super Bowls. And we're getting him for just about $8 million a year. Come on, man. We stole this guy. He's ascending. He's a baller. There's a clip of him where he straight up jumps up on the Super Bowl bus and like does a pull up to get himself up there. This guy is strong. He's a thumper. He can do pretty much anything you need. They played him out of position a lot last year, kind of like how we did Luvu. And he was going up against a lot of offensive linemen and was still holding his own, man. He's a really strong guy, fast, smart. I'm not sure exactly what role they're going to have him play in the defense because he could do everything. I don't know if this is going to be our Mike replacement or if Luvu's going to play Mike, but it does give us the versatility that we know Durante Jones wants to have in this defense. If you look at what the Vikings did and how they used their linebackers, this is one of those guys that can execute a scheme like that very perfectly, and I'm excited to have him here. Now, we talked about homecomings, and we brought home one guy who I'm super excited about, and that is Tim Settle. I've always been a Tim Settle fan ever since he got drafted here. Settle was originally drafted by the Washington football team back in the day, and he went around the league a little bit. He went to Buffalo, and then he spent some time in Houston with the Texans, and he shined every time where he was. He wasn't like the hallmark player, but he just when he gets on the field, you could feel his presence. He's gonna be in the middle. He's our nose more than likely, and this guy really gets after it. And he's just an all around good energy, uh, positive type of guy. He's gonna get in anybody's face, and he's gonna smile while he does it. So he's gonna really bring something to our defense that we really need, and he's gonna allow guys like Payne, Kinlaw, and Newton to really eat and give us some more of that multiple front that Durante is talking about. Now, another homecoming is Nick Cross. Nick Cross is from around the way. That boy went to DeMatha. He went to Maryland. And then he got drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, where he's been balling. Another guy who has a great relative athletic score. He has a 4.3 speed. And he can erase the deep ball. He gets after it. He's a tackling machine. And that's something that we definitely need on that next level. So I'm happy to have Nick Cross coming back home to the DMV. He grew up a Redskins fan, so I know this is a full circle moment for him. Another young guy. I believe Nick Cross is only about 24. So we're getting guys who are ascending, y'all. Like, we talked about this. We talked about wanting to get rid of some of that old. In the first 2 years, quite frankly, we needed that. We needed some of that veteran presence as we rebuilt. But now, in this year where we have the money and it's year 3 of Jayden Daniels' rookie contract, we really need to go hard. And I see AP going after guys who can make some of those changes and who could grow with the team as well. So we're really building our nucleus here by getting some guys who are coming off of rookie contracts and some guys who are even younger. Like Tim Settle, I think he's only like 29. Like, he's not that old. He feels older than he is, but he's not that old at all. And he might be one of the older guys that we picked up in this offseason. Now, we kept going. Peters, he was cooking, y'all. He went out and got some dogs, straight up. The first one that I think of him like Scrappy Doo. This man, Amik Robertson. Ooh, let me not mess that up. I know people have been messing that up all day. Sorry, Amik. Amik Robertson. Amik Robertson, not the biggest guy, but he has inside and outside versatility. And the guy is a straight up dog. Like, he gets after it. There's a game last season where the Lions played the Vikings and he was on Justin Jefferson. And I mean, he strapped Jettas down the entire game. And that's something that you just can't find out of a guy who is seemingly undersized. He said it in his opening presser that he wants to make his presence felt, and he plays bigger than who the size that he actually is. And I think a guy like that really opens some stuff up because he can play well on the inside and outside. So who knows? Maybe this might be Mikey Shannersell getting the outside look or just giving them more of that versatility, right? We know Durante talked a lot about having that multiple front and having guys out there who can do anything. So Amik Robertson is a great addition to that philosophy, and it's making me really excited to see what Durante Jones is going to do with this defense. Now, next, this is a guy that I was super pumped. If you all saw my episode about our free agency wish list, this guy was on there for me at Edge, and that is K'Lavon Chaisson. I learned how to say his name in his press conference. K'Lavon Chaisson. This guy, man, he was a LSU product. He came out with the Jaguars. His first couple years were a little rough. He wasn't quite living up to the expectations. Some people even said he got overdrafted. But this guy spent some time with the Patriots last season and he went off, man. He's another guy who had about 7.5 sacks. And the thing I love about K'Lavon is his motor. When you watch the film on this guy, he's always working. He's always moving. Even if he doesn't get to the quarterback for a sack, he's constantly pressuring and he does not give up on the run plays. I've seen him run from sideline to sideline in order to stop a run, and this guy really gets after it. Now, my big question with him is when he was with the Patriots, he wore number 44, and we know he can't wear that here. So that's my only question is what number is K'Lavon Chaisson going to wear here in the burgundy and gold? But this guy is a true animal, true dog with it, and he really gets after it. And I'm excited to see him in this defense. Now, what's interesting is they listed Oweh as an edge or defensive end, but they listed Chaisson as an offensive outside linebacker. So, off-ball linebacker, what are we going to see with him, right? What are they cooking? That's a very interesting way to list him instead of just put him as defensive end. So let's see how Chaisson is going to be. He is on a 1-year, $12 million deal, which is pretty smart, not just for us to see, hey, was the year with the Patriots perhaps a fluke, which I doubt it, but it's also smart for him because if he comes in and he balls out, he can get more money here or elsewhere. So This is a win-win all around. He's a guy who just came from the Super Bowl. He's hungry. So I know he's going to bring that championship energy that we all need here in DC. So I'm pumped for these moves. Like I said, Adam Peters was really calculated with some of the things. We didn't go after the biggest name, but if you really look at the pedigree of the guys we went after, you could see the scheme that Durante Jones is trying to build out and how they want to play. These are guys who arrive at the ball fast and violently. So I'm excited to see them here in the burgundy and gold. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else on defense. Yeah, those are all the guys. Now, we do know we brought back some guys like Shy Tuttle. We brought back Dietrich Wise. All of those re-signing guys, those are very valuable as well. And we just improved our defense and have a whole lot more depth than what we had in the past. So I'm excited to see how this is all going to come together throughout the season. On defense, one guy I almost forgot about was Chuck. They went out and got Charles Omenihu. He's a defensive end and defensive tackle, somebody who has inside and outside versatility. So goes back to what we're talking about, right? Durante said that they want guys who can do multiple things, and Omenihu adds more of that energy. He comes from the Chiefs as well. So this is a guy who can really get after it. He's a high motor guy. He's going to provide great depth. Our defensive line is starting to look like one of those strong suits, and we need that in order to get after the passer. Now, it does bring up questions on what we're going to do as far as some of the guys we have. We do have Dorrance Armstrong. We have Javante Jean-Baptiste, but I'm never worried because with the defensive line, it's not just about starters. It's about having a stable of guys who can continuously get after it. So I'm pumped, like I said earlier, to see how all of this is going to come through in the offseason. Let's move on to the offense now. Now, offensively, AP needed to get JD5 some support, man. We all needed that. We all known that. One of the biggest needs that we had on offense was actually in the tight end position, and we went out and got my guy, Chig Okonkwo. I'm always supportive of guys who look kind of like me. Somebody saw his interview in one of my group chats and thought it was me, which is crazy, but I'll take that as a compliment. I've been called way worse, y'all. But going back to Chig Okonkwo, this guy is a vertical seam buster, bro. He's a great route runner. He also has great yak ability, which we haven't quite seen in our tight end room. No disrespect to Zach Ertz. I love the way he separates, but we know he's not a yak guy. Chig, on the other hand, has elite speed. He's good on the intermediate and deep routes. He can also throw him a screen and watch him go ahead and get you 15 yards off of a 5-yard pass. So this guy is a great addition. I was pumped. He was one of the tight ends I really wanted. I know everybody wanted Isaiah Likely, but I was high on Chig Okonkwo for the beginning. So I'm happy to see that Adam Peters was able to make that happen. He's signing a 3-year, $30 million deal with us. So he's somebody who's going to get a chance to grow with Jayden as well. Think of him like almost like a Jordan Reed, but with slightly better blocking as well. This guy really gets after it. So I'm pumped to see Chig on there. You can see there's a great avenue. There's a great interview with Brian Colbert Jr. on the Next Man Up, where Chig was talking a little bit about his experience and how excited he is to be in a system that's really going to utilize him. And one of the things he said the coaches loved about him is what he does when he doesn't have the ball, like his motor on getting after tackles on a pick six, right? And really putting that energy in blocking. So Chig Okonkwo is going to be a great addition to this Washington offense. And I am pumped, man. I am so pumped with that. Now, Adam Peters been cooking all up until today. I'm recording this on Saturday, March 14th, and Adam Peters got after it. Not only did he go out and get us Rachaad White, which many of us in the fan base, we saw that one coming, right? Rachaad White made it clear that he wanted to be part of the Washington Commanders and come back and play with who I found out was one of his best friends, Jayden Daniels. I knew that they were boys. I did not know that that was one of his best friends, and he said that in his opening presser. He also mentioned that Washington wasn't his number one choice. He did look forward to coming back to the Bucs, but he knew that Washington was one of his top choices. So he's happy to be here with his boy Jayden 5, and we got that boy for a 1-year, $2 million deal. That's worth up to $4 million. Now, we didn't stop there in the backfield. And for all my folks out there who want Jeremiah Love, you might not love what I'm about to say next, because we also went out and got Jerome Ford from the Cleveland Browns. Now, he's on a 1-year deal. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are on that, but this is another guy who can really get out of it. Think of it as like a high-level Jeremy McNichols replacement. We really raised the floor in this running back room. Now, Jeremiah Love is still a possibility. I don't feel like any of these moves prevent them, but I do think it makes it a lot less likely for us to target a running back at 7. I also think that Jeremiah Love is not going to be there at 7, guys. Just trying to be honest with you. He's a hot commodity. I don't see him getting past the Titans, but I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong on that, y'all. But just wanted to point that out as far as our running back room. The floor has been risen. We got guys out there. You already know my boy Bill. We now have Rashad White and Jerome Ford, 3 guys who can really get after it and do different things. What I think I love about White and Ford too, they both have great hands, great blockers. But White really excels in the passing game, and he's an excellent blocker. He's played with Tom Brady. He's played with Baker Mayfield, and now he's coming back to JD5, the guy who he thinks is the best. No disrespect to Tom the GOAT. So we're getting after it, man. Got another backfield lightning to go with Bill's Thunder here. So we're cooking, man. Let's keep talking about that offense. We got some familiar faces coming back. We know that we re-signed Trey Burks, which I'm excited about that. Chig actually talked about Trey being one of his best friends, and he feels like Trey's best football is ahead of him. He said when that guy's really clicking, things are going well. So I'm happy to see Trey back, Treylon Burks back on a 1-year contract. I believe that's worth up to $4 million. I think he can emerge to be a number 2 type receiver, even though he's not being paid as such. Right now, I see him kind of as like our number 3, maybe number 4, but that's saying a lot, right? On the count of we had to see guys like Chris Moore out there and Robbie Chosen. So this is an improvement to our wide receiver room. Now, talking about wide receiver room, we brought back another familiar face, Dyami Brown. Documentary Dyami, man. We got that boy back in the burgundy and gold. I know he needed us. We can definitely use his service as well. Things didn't quite go well with Jaguars, but they did pay him $10 million. He's coming back on a $3 million contract here. And you know him and Jayden have that chemistry. He's a guy who can go over the top. I think Jayden is the type of quarterback that can unlock Dyami, and being in this David Blau system, whatever it's going to look like, I think it's something that will benefit Dyami as well. He's comfortable here in the DMV, not too far from where he lives in the Carolinas. This guy has a lot of potential. We've seen it come out, specifically playoff Dyami. If we can get playoff Dyami at least 6 to 7 times a year and in the playoff, I'm with it. Let's get that going. Another guy who we put in our wide receiver room is Van Jefferson. He's a veteran. He's going to give us great depth, so that way we don't have to see guys like Chris Moore and Robbie Chosen out there. He came with the Rams. He's had some on and off seasons, but he's always very consistent. Somebody who can really get after it. So that's a great raising the floor, right? We talk about raising the floor and being tides that lift all ships. So AP really went out there and got some guys who could do just that. This is going to be excited to see. Now, I don't think they're done when it comes to the offense, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later in this episode when we talk about what's going to happen next. But I really don't think we're done just yet. And these guys, in my opinion, are insurance policies, and that's Dyami and Van Jefferson, for giving us some space to see how we're going to move in the future. Now, keep in mind that there is a strong possibility, like people are saying 99% more than likely, that we will get Brandon Ayuk, and that's also going to be a great addition to this room. But we can't really, I don't want to speculate about something that hasn't happened just yet. I will talk more about Ayuk coming to this team once the ink has dried on his signing. So let's continue this going. Now, I want to talk about some things that we did, right? We kept our core together and we reinforced our fortress. And that was by extending Laramie Tunsil. This guy, we all know he's a dog. His numbers have been crazy with us. And as far as what he does in the pressures and the sacks he allows, he just does a really good job of holding stout in the pass game. He worked a lot on his false starts when he was with us last year. We haven't seen much of that. He's also really a mauler in the run game as well. So I'm excited to have this record-setting lineman back. And I say record-setting because he's the first in very many pay bracket settings. He's the first $30 million. I think he was the first $25 million. I'll put all that stuff on the screen. But Laramie Tunsil gets after it on and off the field. Shout out to my guys, the Commanders Kings. If you didn't catch their most recent stream, they were talking about Laramie Tunsil, and Rio Robinson said Laramie Tunsil moves like a wide receiver one. That's a guy that looks in the mirror and sees wide receiver run, and he has straight aura with him. So I'm happy to see him back here in the burgundy and gold. Talking about linemen coming back in the burgundy and gold, Chris Paul also signed again. We signed Chris Paul to a 1-year deal. He went out there to test the market, but ultimately decided to come on back to Washington. This makes me excited because we're going to get some continuity on our offensive line. We do know that there's questions at center, but having guys on all the other spots filled in, all other four spots, gives us some really great opportunity to keep some chemistry going. Now, we know right now in the center slot, it could be Nick Allegretti, right? Or I personally think we're going to get somebody in the draft. Cushionberry's still out there. Who knows? They're not done just yet, as this is just the first week of free agency and things can change. Now, let's continue to talk a little bit more about some guys who got extended, right? We mentioned Nick Allegretti. He got a extension. Andrew Wiley, his best friend, got an extension. We re-signed Tress Way, as many of y'all know. We also brought back Jake Moody. So we did a really good job of keeping our core. And on defense, I mentioned earlier, Dietrich Wise, Shai Tuttle, Drake Jackson. Those are all guys who we kept. So we did a really good job of keeping some core guys as well, too, which can only help this team continue to ascend as we build something winning here in DC. So I keep expressing it. I'm pumped. Adam Peters genuinely put on a masterclass in this free agency. Honestly, I was talking to my buddy Greg about it. This might be one of the best free agencies we've ever seen as Commanders fans. And it's just how he's moving, right? He's not just signing the big names. He's signing guys that make sense. And we still have so much more money and opportunity coming. He's not just giving out stupid money, long contracts to any and everybody. He's being really smart and calculated. And I honestly think this is what we've been waiting for over the last 2 years. So I can't express how elated I am to see all of this come to fruition on the field. Now, continuing to analyze these moves that AP has made, one of the things that really stands out to me is the age profile in the guys that he's brought in. With the exception of Tim Settle, most of these guys are under 27. That's crazy. We're building a 4-year window here and not just a 1-year rental. A lot of these guys are on multiple year deals with a few exceptions, of course. Now, I know a lot of people were down on the fact that we weren't able to get Linderbaum, but if you really think about it and look at the math, $28 million for a center, that's crazy. And I know we were in that race as well, but $28 million is way too rich for our blood. And look at what we were able to do with that money. We were able to convert that money. We were able to sign Oweh, Chenal, Cross. We got some guys instead. So we went quantity over quality in this particular round. Now, keep in mind that centers, as much of a commodity as they are, teams don't typically pay $28 million for a center. And the Raiders are an anomaly. They are an outlier and not the standard. So I don't believe that that's going to be the trend going forward in the center position. I want to see those big guys get paid. I want to see some hogs out there, but I don't think that's going to continue to happen all around the league. I'm sure teams were looking at the Raiders crazy, quite like how teams were looking at the Browns a few years ago when they gave Deshaun Watson that contract. I hope it works out for the Raiders, but we weren't about that life, and I'm happy that we were able to turn that miss into something that's a little bit greater that might prove to be more fruitful for us as a team and a fan base. Now, of course, we know Lattimore left. We lost a couple other guys. Chris Rodriguez signed immediately with the Jaguars. And those are things that, you know what, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it happens. The Lattimore thing is something that everybody wanted because we needed to do that cap surgery. But I love what we've done so far. When I analyze this and I really look at it, we got fast, we got physical, we got violent. This is Dan Quinn's mantra, and AP went out and got these guys. And it also starts to give us a little bit of a look at what Durante Jones' system is going to look like and how David Blau is going to continue to build things. Now, center is still questioned, but we'll be able to address that. So, are you entertained, y'all? Are you not entertained? This is a masterclass, like we mentioned all throughout this episode. If I had to give this free agency haul in the first week a grade right now, I'm going to honestly give it an A. And that's not me being biased. Like I said, this is one of these, it might be me being biased, I'm not gonna hold y'all, but this is one of these free agencies that I've never seen as a Commanders fan, man. We went out there and made smart moves. We weren't just throwing stupid money around. We were giving money to the right guys, and we got guys who really fit our mantra and what we want to do, and guys who really want to be here. So I'm excited about that. Durante Jones says what he wants to see out of his players on the field is joy. And when I watch these guys in their press conferences, that's exactly what I saw. And this is just the beginning. So hopefully it's going to continue to build up from here as we get things going. Now, Before I get out of here, I just want to talk a little bit about our draft luxury. With these moves that we were made, we put ourselves in a very luxurious position, man. Throw on that Gwen Stefani track, right? We're feeling very luxurious, man. Working so hard every night and day, and now we get the layup, and that's going to be exactly what the Commanders get to do in the draft. They can literally go best player available and take anybody they want, whether that is Jeremiah Love if he falls after, whether that's just another pass runner, whether there's a guy like Sonny Styles who I'm high on, or maybe even trading back. Maybe he's even getting another receiver, right? One of the things that I've seen out there, shout out to my guys in Hog Farmer Chris. Hog Farmer Chris put out there that the Commanders were reportedly made an aggressive push for Alec Pierce, offering top tier money to try and land him. That tells you everything you need to know. Washington is hunting for a wide receiver weapon. Whether it's in free agency or round one of the draft, they will get it done. Book it. This is from Hog Farmer Chris. He said it himself, and I very much am starting to see the tea leaves if I can, and receivers starting to look more and more eminent. Now, I know many of y'all might think, oh, well, we're going to get Ayuk. How does that look? Even with Ayuk, y'all, I think we could still get another receiver. Think about it. Terry's aging, and I hate to say it, I love Terry. I don't want to see him go anywhere. I want to see him be a Commander for life. But eventually we're going to have to move on. And in this year's draft, there's a lot of great receivers. So this might just be the time to do just that. I got one more tweet out there from Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, football, shout out to him. He said, I'm 90% sure Jeremiah Love will be gone by 7. And I'm just as sure that the Commanders will pick a wide receiver. You don't swing big on Alec Pierce and Romeo Doubs just to settle at the position. Josh Taylor tweeted that earlier on today, and he's saying that. And like I said, I'm starting to see that become more and more of an eminent possibility. I'm even open to them trading back, perhaps, and getting a guy like Mekhi Lemon or somebody who I'm very high on, Denzel Boston. He's a big body receiver, also very fast. Think a la Drake London, just a little bit faster, in my opinion. So who knows? Now, Brandon Jayden Daniels, MVP, also said in response to Josh Taylor's tweet, he says, was going to make a similar tweet, but you don't offer Alec Pierce top of the market money to be heavily involved in Romeo Doubs to settle not having a true wide receiver 2 on the roster. Even when they get Brandon Ayuk, I don't think they're going to call it a day. And these guys are really sounding off on exactly where I'm at now and what I'm thinking. As much as I would love Sonny Styles, as much as I would love another pass rusher, as much as the idea of Jeremiah Love seems so fascinating, I ultimately think a receiver might be the best choice for us. If we get a guy who could truly be our hallmark going forward, that could really shape things out, especially if we land an Ayuk and we re-sign Ayuk down the line. We're going to have just a great receiver room, and you can never have too many good guys at receiver. So I'm excited for what the future is, y'all. Fan Nation, thank you all for sticking with us throughout this episode. What do you all think of this masterclass? Who was your favorite move? Did Adam Peters win you over after the slow start? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe to the On the Fence podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and on X. Thank you, Fan Nation, for tapping in with us. We can't wait to see what else happens in this free agency. We're going to continue to keep you all posted with more news. Check out our stories. Check out some sources and things that are going to be coming for, and continue to tap in with us, Fan Nation. We'll see you all in the next one. Let's go. Raise hell. Raise hell.
Raise hell. Hell to the Commanders will prevail. Raise hell. Raise hell. Hell to the Commanders never fail. From kickoff to the final play, we're here to win. Come with me. Together strong, we'll blaze the way.